What is going on, Internet World? My name is Tommy. You probably know me as Rivet, and I'm your coach of the Atlanta Braviaries, the highest flying fly-sticking team on YouTube. We are here today with our Week 9 battle of the PCC against Coach Haggy and the Arkansas Aggrons. This is going to be a great match. Welcome to the workshop. Alrighty guys, we are here breaking down our Week 9 matchup of the PCC against the Arkansas Aggrons and Coach Haggy. He's got a really scary team, but I think we have a solid squad to take him on this week. First up, he's got Mega Mawile, an incredibly threatening steel and fairy type with a huge power ability. It's an absolute monster with a fantastic dual stab and iron head and play rough, and a great coverage move pool with stuff like knockoff, sucker punch, thunder punch, fire fang, a couple other moves as well. It can set up with swords dance and iron defense. It can set stealth rocks and just do a whole bunch of stuff. I have literally no answer for Mega Mawile. It can just run 3 attacks in play rough, sucker punch, and fire fang, and then a fourth move like knockoff or swords dance or stealth rocks or substitute, anything really. And it can just run through my entire team. I don't have a switch into it. If it gets up a swords dance, the game might be over just because it's so strong, and I have nothing that really can take a sucker punch from it. So this is it's gonna be a huge hassle to manage it. I'm hoping I can do it the best I can. I have a couple different options to try to take it on. And a little bit of creative stuff. So I'm hoping he won't really be expecting some of the stuff I got for it, but breaking ML is an absolute key this week because I cannot let it beat me. Next up is Buzzwole, one of Haggy's favorites, a really great bug and fighting type with the beast boost ability. It's got fantastic offensive stats at base 139 attack and a pretty solid dual stab with close combat and leech life, and a fantastic coverage move pool as well with stuff like dual wing beat, earthquake, and the elemental punches. It's also a very good defensive piece with a fantastic defensive typing and very, very good physical bulk. It can run Roost for longevity. It can run subsets with Toxic and just be annoying. I'm not really expecting Buzzwole this week. It does a decent chunk against my team, but I can revenge it fairly easily with stuff like Torn or Blacephalon, and he needs to run a variety of different attacking moves in order to hit stuff on my team like Sylveon. Next up is Kartana, a very offensive grass and steel type with the beast boost ability again. It's incredibly offensive at base 181 attack and 109 speed. It's got a pretty solid dual stab in Leaf Blade and Smart Strike, and some other good coverage moves such as Knockoff and Sacred Sword. Well, I believe it also gets stuff like Psycho Cut. It can run Choice Scarf and Choice Band sets incredibly effectively, and it can also run Swords Dance sets. Definitely expecting a Choice Scarf set this week. It outpaces Scarf Blacephalon, which would otherwise revenge it really easily and start to snowball the team. Maybe I could see, maybe like Life Orb, Swords Dance, or Choice Band if he predicts me to expect Scarf, but I think that Scarf is a pretty solid option this week. It outspeeds Scarf Blaze. It also outspeeds non-Scarf Torn variants as well. Next up is Moltres, a very versatile and bulky fire and flying type with the pressure and flame body abilities. It's got a really good special attack at base 125 and a great dual stab in Flamethrower and Hurricane. It gets other good moves as well, such as Scorching Sands. It can also run defensive sets with both pressure and flame body, as it does have pretty solid natural bulk. And it's got Roost for longevity, Defog for removing any hazards, and you can pivot around with U-turn as well. Probably expecting Moltres this week. It's one of his better switch-ins to Sylveon. He can Toxic me or Mystical Fire to lower my special attack and just pivot around the team. He can pivot really freely into Mega Mawile, so I'm definitely expecting just a U-turn pivoting set. Stuff that on my team that wants to switch into Moltres. Something like Politoed or something like Electric. He can just U-turn super free, get right in M-Maw, and threaten me incredibly hard. Next up is Umbreon, a very defensive dark type with the Inner Focus ability. It's got really good defenses at base 95 HP, 110 defense, and 130 special defense. It's got a pretty limited move pool with stuff like Bow Play and Payback, but it gets pretty much all it needs. It can run Wish for longevity, Heal Bell to act as a cleric for the team, Protect, just heal itself up with Wish. It can do a couple different other funky things. It can run like Curse sets with Payback, but in this match, I'm probably just expecting a specially defensive set. Wish, Protect, Foul Play, Heal Bell, maybe Toxic on there, just to take on my Blacephalon, as it's probably his best switch into that. Next up is Bronzong, a very bulky steel and psychic type with the levitate and heat-proof abilities. It's an incredibly reliable stealth rocker, and it can do a couple of other different things. It can set screens, it can Toxic stuff, it can be more offensive with moves like Gyro Ball and Psychic. It can outrun Iron Defense Body Press sets very well. It can also set Trick Room for stuff like Mega Mawile. You could definitely see Bronzong coming in this match. I think it's got a bunch of different things it can do against my team. I could see just a Levitate set, to take on Flygon very effectively. I could also see a Heat-Proof set to let it switch in to stuff like Heat Waves from Tornadus or something. I could be rocking stuff like Dark Pulse on Torn or Shadow Ball on Sylveon, but I'm still probably expecting a Heat-Proof set. I think it's a pretty solid Torn answer, even without Dark Pulse, because I think I don't have room for it. So I'm hoping he doesn't know that. Maybe he brings Levitate to try to bring switch in against Flygon. So that'd be very nice for me. Next up is Quagsire, a very bulky water and ground type with the water absorb and unaware abilities. It's very bulky and tough to take down thanks to the combination of recover and unaware, so you can't set up on it. It does have that big quad weakness to grass, but otherwise it's got a very solid defensive typing. It can Scald and Earth Power for damage, it can Toxic Stuff, recover up for longevity. It's pretty limited in what it can do, but what it does very well. I could see Quagsire this week. It's another decent switch into Blacephalon to take on those fire type moves that something like Umbreon would enjoy a little bit less. Maybe it can do a couple of other different things, but realistically I think he's probably got some better mons to fill the slots this week. Next up is Rhyperior, a very bulky and offensive rock and ground type with the solid rock ability. It's got absolutely monstrous attack at base 140 and very solid physical bulk with 115 HP and 130 defense, I believe. With the solid rock ability, it takes less damage from super effective moves, and it can invest in special defense fairly easily to boost that up a little bit. It's got really solid dual stab with stuff like Earthquake and then Stone Edge or Rock Blast or something. It does get a very good coverage move pool as well. It's great with Stealth Rocker and Toxic Stuff. It can run Assault Vest fairly easily as well. You could definitely see Rhyperior coming in this match. It's a pretty decent switch into Torn, as it does resist stuff like Air Slash and Heat Wave. I could be running something like Grass Knot or Focus Blast, but if he's like specially defensive or Assault Vest, thanks to Solid Rock, he won't be taking a whole lot from those moves, so definitely got to watch out for Rhyperior if it comes. Next up is Decidueye, a very versatile grass and ghost type with the Overgrow and Long Reach abilities. It can do a whole bunch of different stuff. It can run physically offensive sets with moves like Leaf Blade and Poltergeist with Sword Stance and stuff. It can run specially offensive sets with Shadow Ball and Leaf Storm and with Nasty Plot. It can run defensive sets with stuff like Roost and Spirit Shackle and Toxic. And can U-turn around, defog hazards away, and it just does everything pretty much. But in this match, I'm probably not expecting Decidueye. I have a couple pretty solid answers to it, stuff like Ferrothorn, and he doesn't really super want to deal with other things in my team, such as Tornadus and Blacephalon. He could be like a Swords Dance Shadow Sneaking set to take on Blaze, but I think he's probably got some better answers to Blacephalon on the team, so I'm not really expecting Decidueye this week. Next up is Quillfish, a fairly defensive and versatile water and poison type with the Intimidate and Swift Swim abilities. It can be fairly offensive with moves like Liquidation and Poison Jab, maybe something like Scale Shot and Swords Dance, but it can also run more defensive sets with Intimidate. It can set Spikes and Toxic Spikes. It can Thunder Wave some stuff, debond, do a couple different things. But in this match, I'm probably not expecting Quillfish. He could be cheeky and run like an offensive Swift Swimming set if he thinks I'm going to bring Rain with Politoed. Or he could bring like a Toxic Spikes and Spike stacking, Suicide Lead or something with Explosion. That could be pretty scary. But honestly, I think he's probably got some better mons on the team than Quillfish this week. And last but not least, he's got Frogadier, a pretty versatile water type or any type, realistically, thanks to Protein. Got pretty good moves with stuff like Surf, Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, U-turn, I believe it gets Gunk Shot, gets Spikes and Toxic Spikes again. Or maybe it just gets Toxic Spikes, not really sure. But I can run Life Orb sets, can run Choice Specs and Choice Scarf, and do a couple different things. Not really expecting Frogadier this match. Its coverage is pretty solid, but Ferrothorn's a pretty solid answer to it. And again, I think he's got some other mons on the team that he needs to bring in instead this week. So, with all that out of the way, let's hop into what I am bringing this match. Leading us off, we are rocking Revelation 19, Tornadus Therian coming again this week with a Choice Scarf set and the Regenerator ability, Air Slash, Heat Wave, Grass Knot, and U-turn, 252 in special attack with enough speed to outspeed fully invested Choice Scarf Kartana, and the rest thrown into bulk. Air Slash is pretty spammable this week, especially in the late game if I can get some chip on stuff. Really good for taking on mons such as that Kartana and that Buzzwole. It also hits Moltres fairly hard if he's something like an offensive set. Heat Wave is for going into stuff like that Mega Mawile and non-heat-proof Bronzong if those want to come in. And then Grass Knot is obviously there for that Rhyperior and Quagsire. U-turn is just for pivoting around the team. If I come in against Kartana, he'll probably expect me to be Choice Scarf, so he'll probably switch into something like Umbreon. I'll try to pivot out with U-turn, get into some other stuff. So this is here for momentum this week, and revenging that Choice Scarf Kartana, especially in the late game. If he gets a Smart Strike off, he could very easily clean the game. So my more defensive pieces are chipped. So I definitely got to watch out for that. So I kind of have to run Scarf Torn this week. I think it does a pretty good job of dealing with some of the faster threats on the team. And it forces him to do a couple different things. You might try to force him to click Sucker Punch on Emma. I can try to get into something else, do some shenanigans. But really liking Torn this week, especially in the late game. Next up, we are rocking Disco Daddy to the Blacephalon. Disco is running a Choice Spec set this week with the Beast Boost ability, Overheat, Shadow Ball, Substitute, and Trick. 252 in special attack, 176 in speed with the Timid Nature. This lets me outspeed fully invested Frogadier, and just the rest thrown into HP. This is a pretty solid offensive mon this week. It does a whole bunch of work against stuff like Mega Mawile and Kartana. You can also hit stuff like Buzzwole fairly hard. Overheats with Choice Specs, dents pretty much anything on this team. Even something like a fully specially defensive Umbreon does not enjoy an Overheat. If I can get some chip on that thing, I might be able to two-shot it with Overheat. Shadow Ball, otherwise it's incredibly spammable against everything except for that Umbreon. Trick is there for going into the Umbreon You know, if I can cripple that thing, give it a specs, he can't really do a whole lot of wish protection shenanigans, or he won't be able to cleric as easily. So I'm really liking that option. I can hopefully get some leftovers or something. The other option that he would probably switch into is Moltres to take an overheat, so I don't hate that option either. I don't love giving him a choice specs, but I think he'll probably be a more offensive set. And if I can get a pair of heavy-duty boots in return, that would be super awesome, especially if he sets hazards with something like Bronzong or that Rhyperior. So, you know, sub lets me play the Sucker Punch game a little bit against a Maw. I really don't want to do that because it's super risky with Disco, because just one move from that thing and I am toasted. But otherwise, I'm really liking Disco as an early game breaker, and he can cause some shenanigans against the team. Next up, we're rocking Cafeole. The Ferrothorn Cafe is running a fully physically defensive Akaberry set this week with Iron Barbs, Body Press, Iron Defense, Spikes, and Toxic, just fully physically defensive. This is my kind of sort of best switch into Mega Mawile. Mega Maw it's absolutely going to be running Fire Fang, and it just absolutely chomps through me. With my Akaberry, it does around 50%. So best case scenario is I can like maybe live one, get an Iron Defense off, you know, force him to take another round of Iron Barbs, maybe Body Press that thing. But realistically, if he knocks off first and he Fire Fangs me, then I'm just dead. But you know, ML I don't have a switch into. So realistically, if he just gets an SD off, I got to try to Body Press him, just get some chip on him, because otherwise he just does so much damage against me. But if I can get some Iron Defense Body Pressing going, I think that'll be a decent option if I can, you know, maybe get it to survive. And if I get rid of Moltres, his ghost type on the team is obviously that Decidueye, and I'm not really sure it comes this week. It also doesn't match up super well against Ferrothorn, so maybe I can get that going. That'd be kind of nice, but realistically, it's just kind of on there. Spikes are pretty good this match for wearing down some of the more defensive mons on the team that want to switch in over and over again, such as that Umbreon, maybe that Mega Mawile, and that Quagsire as well. And then Toxic is going into that Moltres that wants to switch in every single time. So really, I'm hoping Cafe can try to do a little bit to contain that Mega Mawile, but realistically, it just hits so hard. If I can get maybe 2 rounds of Iron Barbs against it, that'd be a decent option. But you know, best case scenario, he doesn't bring Fire Fang. Maybe he brings like Brick Break or something. It doesn't do enough damage. I mean, that might even do more, but I don't know. So well, we'll see how Cafe does. But realistically, my expectations are kind of low at this point. With that cheering note out of the way, next up we're rocking Lacey the Sylveon. Lacey's running a kind of funky set this week with the Berry and the Pixelate ability, Hyper Voice, Mystical Fire, Calm Mind, and Wish. 248 in HP. 72 in defense with the Bold Nature, 84 in special attack, and then 104 in speed. My speed investment gives me enough speed to outpace Mega Mawile speed creeping my base 70 stuff with a 16 EV buffer just in case he goes a little bit higher to account for my speed creeping. My 84 in special attack lets me always two-shot a Mega Mawile with 92 HP investment. That's how much he would have left after that the speed investment that I calculated for. And then just 72 in defense with the Bold Nature and 252 in HP to make myself as bulky as possible to try to take some hits from stuff on the team like Buzzwole and Kartana possibly, and also that Rhyperior. This set looks really good this week if I can get rid of Moltres. Moltres can come in on this thing. You know, he can Toxic me, pivot around, do a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm really relying on some of the other things in my team to try to manage that Moltres. But once that's gone, this can two-shot Mega Mawile, like I said. Hopefully he'll switch it in. Realistically, he'll probably have, you know, something like Heat-Proof Bronzong. I could be running, you know, Shadow Ball with a more offensive set, which is something he has to watch out for. But otherwise, Hyper Voice is pretty spammable against the team in combination with Mystical Fire. Calm Mind is to help me boost up and just power myself off. And then Wish is there, you know, to try to give myself a little bit more longevity if I can get the set to work, and to heal up the rest of the team as well if I want to Wish Pass into something like Cafe to try to give it a second life, or Rev as well to get it in for free. Next up, we're rocking Kial the Hitmontop. Kial's rocking a physically defensive set this week with Rocky Helmet and Intimidate, Close Combat, Rock Slide, Rapid Spin, and Toxic. 248 in HP, 184 in defense with the Impish Nature, and then 76 in speed. My speed investment lets me outspeed a non-invested Buzzwole. I can get a Toxic off on it, or maybe a Rapid Spin to get rid of any hazards or something of the sort. This is my main switch into Kartana this week. Cafe is a pretty solid switch into Kartana as well, but I need that thing to be as healthy as possible to take on that Mega Mawile, and he could have Sacred Sword, and that would do a whole lot to me. So rocking Kial instead this week with Intimidate. Close Combat does a whole bunch of that thing. A CC plus 1 Rocky Helmet pretty much guarantees an Oko. Rock Slide is going into that Moltres. Obviously, Rapid Spin is to get rid of any hazards, and then Toxic is for going into stuff like Quagsire that wants to come in on this thing. Also that Buzzwole as well. Really relying on Kial to intimidate that Kartana this week. You can also try to switch it in, maybe on Mega Mawile, just pop and intimidate. You know, maybe try to hit it with a CC or force him to take some helmet chip. That'll be all it takes to take him out. But he's mainly here for Kartana, so Kartana just can't sweep me in the late game. And then last but not least, We're rocking Zigglorocks, the electric Ziggy's running an Assault Vest set this week with Levitate, rocking Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, Giga Drain, and U-Turn, 248 in HP, 48 in defense, 148 in special attack, 56 in special defense with the calm nature, and then 8 in speed. My special defense investment pretty much guarantees a 5-shot from an uninvested Moltres, just so I can take that thing on as effectively as possible. My defense investment lets it so that a fully invested Adamant Mega Mawile can't OHKO me with just a neutral play rough. And I got 8 in speed just in case he's not invested with Mega Mawile, like for whatever reason. Then I can win. I can outpace that thing. I don't have to worry about a speed tie. And then just 148 in special attack to make myself hit as hard as possible. This is my main switch into Moltres. Moltres can't really touch me, especially if I can get some wish support going from Lacey. Thunderbolt hits that thing very, very hard. He could obviously play the Roost game, getting rid of his flying typing, but he can obviously come in and just pivot on me with U-turn, get into something like M-Maw, and then I'm in a really rough spot. But regardless of that, these 3 moves hit this entire team pretty hard. Giga Drain is obviously there for Quagsire and Rhyperior. Flamethrower is there for the bunch of steel types. And then U-turn is for pivoting around the team. It also does a decent chunk to that Umbreon. Really relying on Ziggy to try to keep that Moltres in check. He'll definitely have U-turn and Toxic, which can both just chip down Ziggy and over again. But otherwise, he doesn't have a ton that super wants to come in on this thing, besides the 2 steel types, obviously. If he's got heat-proof Bronzong, he can also take that thing on, but he could be running the risk I have knockoff and a couple of other different things. So I'm hoping Ziggy can do a decent job containing that Moltres, but I kind of just have to bring it. It's also a decent wall-breaking tool, just thanks to its excellent coverage this week. So that's the team we are rocking with. I wish I could say I was confident, but his team matches up really well against mine. I'm going to have to start the match really strong, get some momentum going. And this is a must-win game if we want to make it to playoffs. We are sitting at 4-4. Our division is incredibly tight. Haggy sitting at 4-4 as well. DW sitting at 4-4. Washer, I think, he's sitting at 3-4, but he's yet to play his last week game, so it's incredibly tight. With Haggy being one of our closest competitors for playoff, we pretty much have to win this. I did some looking around, and it doesn't look like we have a pretty good chance if we lose this game, but especially going against Heg next week, who's leading the league, I'm pretty sure. So with all that said, let's hop into this match. Alrighty guys, we're up to hop into this Week 9 match of the PCC against the Arkansas Aggrons and Coach Haggy. You can see the 6 I expect him to bring up on the screen. Mega Mawile, Kartana, Moltres, Umbreon, Bronzong, and that Rhyperior. I could definitely also see something in there like that Quagsire, or that Buzzwole, or maybe that Quillfish as well. But you've seen the 6 I am bringing and why I am bringing them. If you haven't, go check out the Teambuilder. But with all that out of the way, let's hop into this match. Okay, we do see Frogadier and Decidueye. No Moltres is great. What else do we not see? No Rhyperior as well. Okay. I will say I'm a little surprised to see Decidueye. But hopefully I can play around that the best I can. Lacey should be able to set up on it fairly free unless he's like an offensive set. But then Cafe, I can Toxic stall it at least. Rev can also try to hit it fairly hard, because even a +2 Shadow Sneak shouldn't do that much. So let's get Decidueye on there and Frogadier. I also got to scout what that Frogadier is. He's been bringing that a lot, but realistically, I'm not super sure what it can do. It might be a Spikes lead. A Toxic spiking lead would be very not good. Let's see. What do I want to do? From a lead perspective, I could absolutely see him leading Bronzong or Frogadier. I would have bet he leads one of those 2. Disco doesn't match up horribly against either. He could be Scarf. I doubt it. That's definitely Scarf Kartana. I could lead Kyall and just Rapid Spin. I could lead Ziggy and try to pivot around. Ziggy doesn't match up horribly against either of those. If he leads Mega Mawile, I'd be in a rough spot. Or if he leads, no Moltres means I don't really need Ziggy. So I totally don't mind just leading it, trying to pivot, trying to threaten something with a big Thunderbolt straight away. So I think I'm going to do that. We're going to lead Ziggy here. See if I see that Bronzong lead. If I see Bronzong, I'm immediately going to go. He's going to lead Frogadier. Not surprised at all. I could go for a nice little Thunderbolt here. If I were to bet, he's going to set Toxic Spikes. So my play might be to pivot into Kyall, but I don't want to take a big Surf or something. So I think I'm gonna go for a nice little T-Bolt here, and just see what this thing is. If he sets Toxic Spikes, I'm gonna U-turn on the next turn. But he doesn't have anything that super wants to take on my coverage. If I were to bet, he's either gonna set those Toxic Spikes or pivot right into Umbreon. So let's go for a nice little T-Bolt, and just scout what he's gonna do. All right, he's just gonna U-turn out. 16. That does a decent chunk actually. He's just gonna go straight into Umbreon. 19. That does literally nothing. My play is to just pivot with U-turn. He's going to yawn. Totally cool with that. Nice little 27%. I can do a couple different things here. I can go straight into Lacey and click Mystical Fire. I could also go into Kjol and fire off a Toxic. I don't super love that option. I don't know what he would go into, but most likely it wouldn't. He'd probably go into Decidueye. But I think I like going straight into Lacey and clicking Mystical Fire. That Frogadier did a lot. He might be physically offensive with Gunk Shot. I don't know if Frogadier gets Gunk Shot, but I'm going to do a little bit of calcing just so I can see some stuff. Yeah, this thing has base 63 physical attack. 16. So he's just fully physically invested Jolly. I got to see if that thing gets Gunk Shot. Yeah, Frogadier does get Gunk Shot, so I absolutely would expect him to have that. I could go straight for a Mystical Fire here. I would probably expect Bronzong to come out. That would probably confirm that he's heat proof, not Levitate. I could also just fire off his I mean, because Decidueye is so free, and I haven't seen anything yet, so I'm gonna go into Lacey here. If he's feeling bold, he can stay in here. Go for a Wish, because realistically, I definitely wouldn't kill this thing with a Hyper Voice, because he's... Yeah, I would do 41. He could absolutely fire off a Wish here and just scout what I'm going to do. Or he could Toxic me. He could Wish and then Toxic. But, you know, I'll go for a Mystical Fire here. Yeah, Zong's going to come out. 36. Alright, that's... No, he's not heat proof. And he's either physically defensive. Yeah, he's physically defensive for Flygon, it looks like. But I got a couple different plays I can make here. He's probably going to set rocks. I don't want to take a Heavy Slam. Oh, does this thing get Heavy Metal too, actually? Yeah, I might see a Heavy Slam come out here. But realistically, my play is to go into Ziggy. I've threatened this thing pretty hard. He's just going to set his rocks. That's fine. I can remove those. I can remove those later. So I think right here I can go for a Flamethrower. That would tickle a decent chunk. Because he would take a decent amount. And he shouldn't be able to do too much to me. So I'm gonna pivot with U-turn. If I were to bet something else comes in here to take this on, I think Dumbreon will probably come out. And I can pivot into Kjol and Rapid Spin. So let's do that. No, he's gonna stay in. That's fine. He can Toxic, he can Psychic, he can Heavy Slam. He could also go for a Body Press. If he's physically defensive, that would hurt. Definitely don't want to switch Pharaoh into that. He could also just go into Kjol, but I don't want to take a Psychic or anything. Crap, I kind of screwed the pooch on this. I'm going to go into Rev. I can pivot and then regen my health back. He's going to see that I'm not Boots. He's going to set Trick Room. Yeah, that's not good. If he goes for a Gyro Ball right now, and he's like offensive, he's going to kill me. I'm going to pivot back into Ziggy and see what he's going to do. Yeah, I didn't want to take that Gyro Ball. And I got to click Flamethrower this time. He's probably going to go for a Body Press. Umbreon's just going to come out. Alright, well, he's outplaying me, obviously. So I got to pivot into Kjol and try to Rapid Spin. I got a nice little crit, sorry. But I got to get these Rockies out of here. He's just going to go for a Wish here, yeah. And he's probably going to Protect, actually. Or he's going to pivot back into Zong to set Trick Room again. I'm going to at least try to Rapid Spin. Yeah, he's going to Protect. He could go into Decidueye to Spin Block, and I could pivot into Rev to try to do some stuff. He could also toss off. He won't toss off another Wish. I think he'll probably pivot into Decidueye this time. I'm going to fire off a Toxic on that. If he stays in and goes for another Wish, good play. But I'd expect him to go into Decidueye to Spin Block, so he can keep these rocks up for Blaze and Torn. Especially now that he's seen Torn isn't Boots. But I really screwed the pooch on that Bronzong. He's back to full. Umbreon's back to full. So I gotta get Lacey going as soon as possible. I mean, yeah, Zong's gonna come out. Damn it. All right, well, good play. I still have not seen anything on this thing. He's just gonna set Trick Room again, or he can go for Toxic. And if he's physically defensive, he's not gonna take anything from a CC, and I'll take a bunch from like a Psychic or something. I'll go back into Ziggy. I want to Scout, but I'm taking so much damage. He's gonna Toxic, yeah. Alright, well, I know his full set now, which means Pharaoh walls this thing, so I might want to try to set up some spikes. So I'm going to pivot into Pharaoh if he stays in, or if he goes into Umbreon, that's also cool. But now that I know he can't hurt Pharaoh, so I'm going to try to do some hazard stacking, because if he's got removal, it's on Decidueye. Umbreon's going to come out. Gyro Ball does not do a lot to Lacey. It really doesn't. So I think I want to go into Lacey and try to start setting up. I'm going to do that. Oh, but I don't want to burn my Babiri Berry on this piece of crap. I could also pivot into Disco. I'm gonna go for a Calm Mind first. See if I can't hit that Bronzong pretty hard. Because at +1, I'm doing about half. Obviously, leftovers will negate that. But alright, he's going to stay in. Please don't go for Toxic. He's just going to go for a Wish. I got a couple different plays I can go for here. I can go for it again. Hyper Voice. I don't think he'll stay in for he could click Protect to heal himself up, but he's taking the risk. I don't click it again. But if he goes into Bronzong here, also he could go into Frogadier. I just really don't want him to burn my Babiri Berry with Bronzong. I'm going to go for Fire. You know what? I have Kyall at full. I still have Rev. I'm going to click Calm Mind again. I'm going to pray you don't click Gyro Ball. Even if you do, it'll do 2 damage. And I'm going to kill this Bronzong. 66. He's going to set Trick Room again. And I'm going to click Mystical Fire again. Best case scenario is that Mega Mawile comes out and it clicks Iron Head. Oh no, I just burned it. Alright, that did more than I thought it would. So he was offensive. Yeah, M-Maw comes out now. And I am in a very bad situation. Because this is M-Maw under Trick Room. He's got 3 turns. Shit. He's Intimidate, not Hyper Cutter, so I could try to go into Kyall and Intimidate this thing. But I'll move first under Trick Room with Cafe. I need this thing to kill Umbreon. I'm going to go into Pharaoh. Please don't click Swords Dance. Iron Head. Alright. He's going to take Barbs. This is where I wish I had Rest. Because that was my situation in which I could have tried to do some Rest talk shenanigans with Iron Defense. Because he's going to click Fire Fang here. He's got Iron Head, which is good to know. Did 23, yup. Realistically, he'll click Fire Fang. I gotta click Body Press. Iron Defense does me no good. Oh, he's gonna knock off my Akaberry. Okay, that's fine. I'm gonna go for Body Press again. I should have clicked Iron Defense. I was moving first. Please die. No. Damn. Alright, well, he's knock off Fire Fang. Which means he doesn't have Play Rough or he doesn't have Sucker. Either is surprising. But I'm just going to go into Kyall and click Rock Slide. Or I could click Rapid Spin. I'm going to click Rapid Spin. It should kill. Worst case scenario is he goes into Decidueye and preserves. Because I lost my hazards. Yeah. I should have clicked Rock Slide. That was my fault. But I have no idea what this thing is. If I were to bet you're physically offensive, I'm going to go into Ziggy and scout what this thing is because he's dead and this is useless. Yeah, knock off, physically offensive. Ziggy's going to go down here. That Umbreon is still way too healthy. Oh, crap. Alright, well, I obviously got to go into red. I could also... No, because he'll kill Lacey. If he's got Poltergeist. I mean, the fact that he's definitely... No, he'll have Leaf Blade. 30 point... That was a max roll on Adamant, I think. I'm in roll on Adamant. I think he'll have Shadow Sneak. I don't know what this thing's move is. Decidueye... I can't believe Decidueye came. Frankly, I'm very sad. But Rock Slide does nothing to this thing. I do want to try to get a Toxic off. And he shouldn't be able to Mega hurt me after an Intimidate. So I'm going to go into Kyall and click Toxic this time. Alright, well, I'm going to keep playing this game of Rapid Spin and Toxic. Eventually, you're going to have to do something. I'm going to click Toxic this time. Oh, he's not intimidated. He's going to knock off my helmet. That's okay. But I got a Toxic on this thing. Oh, Long Reach. Right, that's interesting. And I'm going to go into Rev and click U-turn. There's the Shadow Sneak. Nice little U-turn here. Ma's going to come out. He lived. That's so annoying. Shit. I'm gonna go back into Kyall. Honestly. What is my luck with the 1%? The 1%. YouTube CEOs, don't take me down because I accidentally attacked the 1%. I can click Rock Slide here. I can also just keep trying to spin. But I think I'll just go for Rock Slide this time. I missed my Rock Slide. Sick. That's really annoying that I missed my Rock Slide. I can't switch into Rev this time because he's going to go for Knock Off this time, I think, and knock off my boots. Man, I'm losing so bad. I got to get Lacey in here so that she can try to kill this thing. I don't know. He's probably got speed, and he'll be able to kill Lacey with a Leaf Blade. Probably. Nah, it does about half, but then I can't beat Umbreon. I'm really sad I missed that Rock Slide. That's such a bummer. But I can't lose my Scarf. I think he's going to go for Knockoff again this time on Rev coming out, so I'm going to stay in and click Rock Slide. Oh, he's going to Shadow Sneak. Okay. 16. He's bulky. That did way less than I was expecting. He's like physically defensive. How did he do so much then? Shadow Sneak did 17. He's not attack invested. I thought he was. Or maybe he's not spell tag. He's something else. I'm really confused by the damage output. I really am. But if I lose my Scarf on Torn, the game is over. But literally, Disco is doing nothing for me. Literally nothing. It hasn't even hit the field yet. And he's not hurting me, so I'm going to stay in and click Rock Slide. I outsped him that time, so he went for... Oh, he's got Roost. Okay. I'm going to stay in. I'm going to keep clicking Rock Slide. He's got to click Knockoff one of these times. One of these days... Oh, he is Leftovers. I can't believe he hasn't clicked Knockoff yet. I'm going to go into Rev this time. If he clicks it this time, he's a god. Oh, he just doubles into M-Maw. Man, that was a really bad turn of events. Because if this thing's last move is Sucker Punch, and I guarantee it is. Crap. Why did that happen? That was so bad. It must be Sucker Punch. There's no way it's not. And that would totally kill me from this distance. But this thing, I can't believe it's still alive. It's just sitting here at 1%. Yeah. I mean, a max roll would, but I can't take that damage. I'm going to go into Kyaw and pray he clicks Sucker. Nope. Alright, well, my play is lazy. And now I got to click this Hyper Voice, I guess. You know, Kartana's going to come out here. I'm going to go into Disco and sack it because it's doing nothing, and then I got to go into Torn afterwards. 47. Oh my god. I'm going to click Overheat. Oh, he switched? Ha! Bye. Alright, well, the Daddy-O just murdered the Pog Frog. That was pretty funny. I gotta stay in and click it again, obviously. And now Lacey's coming out, and I'm gonna click Hyper Voice. Or should I click? I mean, realistic. Should I have preserved that? No, because he knew that. I can't believe he switched with Kartana. Is he not Choice Scarf? 46. Smart Strike did 46. That's Scarf damage. I don't know why he switched, but I gotta... Oh, crap. That Umbreon is so healthy. Lacey can beat that Umbreon. I mean, Yawn, too. If his last move is Toxic, not Foul Play. This is gonna be... Oh, crap. Because if I go into Lacey here, he'll stay in, I'll kill it. He'll go into Kartana, kill me. And then I don't think Rev will have to lock in, and he can't do that. This is gonna... I gotta go into Rev here. I gotta go into Rev. And this is a 50-50 on whether he stays in on me clicking U-turn or switches into Umbreon on my Air Slash. Man, I hate 50-50s. This is... Or if he clicks Roost if he stays in and clicks Roost and I U-turn, the game's over. If he goes into Umbreon and then doubles, which is what I think he'll do, I would have to make the double play on him going back into something. I'm gonna click Air Slash. That's what I think he's gonna go into Umbreon. I don't think he knows that I can't click U-turn here. I'm gonna stay in and click Air Slash. Yep. Okay. All right, this thing's out of the way. Umbreon's gonna come out now. This is, again, another 50-50. He can stay in here and double into Kartana. How much does Kartana take from the Air Slash? Air Slash does a minimum of 100 if he's got no HP. This is another 50-50 on if he doubles. Because if he doubles into Kartana... But that's the thing, if he gets Kartana in, or if he clicks Yawn. Oh man, freaking Yawn. I didn't expect that. Because that's the thing, Torn can beat Kartana and Sylveon can beat Umbreon. It's just a matter of getting it in. Alright, win or lose, this has been a great game so far. Haggy's played a fantastic game, which I knew he was going to. Haggy's a fantastic battler, but we had a great game last time we played. But with playoffs on the line, I really don't want to screw this up. I think he's going to stay in and click Yawn. So I could go into Lacey on the Yawn, and then double back into Rev on Kartana coming out. But then I could just if he stayed in on my Mystical Fire, because he would live a hit, you'd be able to get a Wish off. But I can't let Torn go to sleep. I can't let either of these things go to sleep. I gotta keep doubling, and it just doesn't do me any good. He's not gonna double. He's gonna click Yawn. I gotta go into Lacy. But also, yup. And he's gonna stay in here and not click it again. Because he's gonna wish. Because he knows I can't kill him, and I would go to bed. Because Torn does a max of 20% to this thing. And he's going to get it all back when he wishes. And after I go to sleep. I'm going to go back into Rev. I think my play is to not let Sylve go to sleep. Because he's just going to freaking yawn again, dude. And I wish I had sub Nasty Plot. I would win. Just a subset. I initially had a subset and I changed it to Scarf. But boy, has that bitten me in the ass. Because if I was just able to click Substitute right now, the game would be over. Actually, that Foul Play would break my sub. If I was like sub Nasty Plot with leftovers maybe, but I doubt it. Or if I just had Taunt. If I was like Scarf Taunt or just a Taunt set. But I'll click U-turn. Unfortunately, I think this is over. I can't beat this thing. Oh, I crit him. Going to Lacy. Foul play. Uh-oh. Foul play did how much? Alright, I'm gonna click Wish. I don't think it matters because I'm not gonna survive 2 foul plays. I'll click Wish to try to heal myself up. I'm gonna click Hyper Voice this time. I'm just gonna let myself go to sleep, I think. 43. Because if I just gotta get Lacy in a one-on-one with Umbreon, because I can win that. I gotta get Kartana. Here's the thing. I can switch in on Kartana once. No, because he'll go for knockoff and I'll die. It's a matter of when do I go into Kartana versus when do I burn turns of sleep. I'll go back into Rev now. Please go into Kartana. Nope. Because he knows that Kartana dies to a move from Torn. But he also can't yawn me now. But Foul Play does a lot. I'm going to stay in and I'm going to click. Because he knows that he's going to have to make a bold play at some point. But if I U-turn and he goes into Cart, or if I go hard into Lacy, he goes into Cart, the game is over. Because I won't be able to kill. He'll either be able to kill Rev or kill Lacy, and the game's over. I gotta take care of these both. I'm gonna stay in and click Air Slash. Please go into Kartana. Oh, 18. Gotta flinch now that it mattered. I'll go into Lacy this time. Come on, Lacy. Please wake up. Please wake up. My win con is a wake up at this point, essentially. Man, I really am sad. That's sleep. I couldn't beat sleep. And I couldn't get these rocks out of here. These rocks have been here the whole game. Please wake up. Oh, that was my play. Well, this is a 50-50. Again. Everything in this match has been a 50-50. Because a knockoff does not kill Lazy. There's no way it does. If he were to go for it, I would lose my boots, my scarf on Torn, and then he would just be able to click Smart Strike the next 2 times this thing came in. But realistically, it wouldn't have mattered because I would have had to pivot back until I would have had to click U-turn. Lacey would still be asleep, and we could just do that game back and forth. But I can't touch this because I got put to sleep. I'm gonna go into Torn and pray you don't click knockoff. Smart Strike. I lived it. Alright, well. The only way I win this game is if for some goddamn reason he stays in for this. Because if I U-turn, it doesn't matter. I go into Lazy and Lazy's asleep. I'm just going to click E-Wave. Yeah. Burn. Nope. This game's over. I'm not going to prolong it anymore. I can't beat this. The only way I would win is if Lacey wakes up immediately. I'll click Mystical Fire on the... I mean, he'll just be able to... I'll click Wish. Oh, I woke up. Hell yeah! Lazy! She woke up. I don't think it matters. But I'm going to get my health, because he's going to be able to put me... He's going to be able to yawn me again, but I got to click Hyper Voice. Yeah! Alright, Lacey's back in it. But I'm going to go back to sleep. I'm gonna go back to sleep. The only way I could possibly win this is if I crit this freaking. I got a crit because he's gonna click Foul Play here because that covers Rev coming in. I would die. Yeah, this as sad as I am that I don't think I'm gonna be able to pull this back. This has been a really fun game. I could click Wish. I would go to bed, and I could pray that I gotta wake up, or I could try to pivot into Rev. I would be at full again. I don't really think it matters though. I'm at a high enough health for what I need Lacey to do. So what I'm going to do is I could click Calm Mind. So that way, if I happen to wake up, I would shatter this guy. Crit Hyper Voice. Nope. Oh, he clicked Wish? Oh, that was interesting. I should have gone to Torn there and clicked U-turn. But wake up. Nope. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Alright, I should have clicked Calm Mind there, but what are you going to do? He's just going to keep spamming Yawn? Yeah. Because the thing... Oh, crap. Alright, I'm going to click Calm Mind this time. He crit me back, doesn't matter. Wake up. Yeah, I knew I should have gone into Torn there. That was really obvious, but what are you going to do? Alright, well that's tragic. That looks like it's going to be GG's. Very sad. Rev's going to come in here. I'll just click Air Slash. Maybe I can just cheese the hell out of something. Alright. Who's ready to watch me try to flinch hacks this Umbreon with every single Air Slash I got? I didn't even get one. Alright, that's GG's, unfortunately. That was a great game. Got it down to a 1-0, but... You know, that's how it goes sometimes. I couldn't couldn't deal with that yawn. That yawn was a great bring that I just couldn't take it, unfortunately. But that's how the game goes sometimes. So GG's to Haggy. That was a really good game. Leave a like for Haggy. He's a great guy, a great player. That was a great game. If I get some ungodly turn of luck, maybe I can sneak in with the bottom seed in our division. But we'll be back next week against Heg. I'm bringing memes. I already told him that if I lost his game, I'm bringing memes. So get hyped for some absolute shenanigans. He's probably going to be defending his first seed status, but maybe we can do a little bit of role reversal. Absolutely clap the Cheese King with some of his own stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching this battle. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed the battle. Subscribe if you guys are new. Leave a like for Haggy. Leave a like for the entire PCC. Everyone repping the chat. Everyone was watching that battle. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.